Hey, everybody, this is Dwayne,
And David.
and we're just two best friends talking about the show we love, Survivor. This is take two for us, so we'll probably get through it pretty quick.
Yeah. In case you missed it
This
at
is
the beginning, this is Survivor Talk with D&D.
That's right. Well, Tony told them that, so I don't have
This
to
is
tell
true.
them.
Well, you usually do.
No, I haven't done that in a long time.
Boy, this is really bad.
This is the recap of episode 9, Getting to Crunch Time. We're live, and there's a lot of people in the chat room talking. They've already heard the first 20 minutes of the show once, so they're hearing it again. Way to go, people. And 6 more episodes, David. We reached number 200.
Wow.
Pretty sweet.
Quite a milestone for two guys that don't know what they're doing.
As always, thank you for starting your Amazon shopping using our links. Christmas is around the corner, and you have shopping to do, my friends. I know it's just one extra little step, but man, it means a lot to us. You like us, show us by shopping Amazon using our link. Next week, we will be doing a feedback show only. No recap, because I'll be in Texas, and we're not sure what Grandma's doing, if she's going to still be around or not. She's really unhealthy right now. So we're going to do a recap show on Sunday night. I'm sorry, a listener feedback show on Sunday night after Thanksgiving. So once that show airs, get your feedback in and we'll talk about it. All right? Initial thoughts, David. Initial thoughts.
Let's see if maybe I can make it shorter this time. My initial thought comes from the fact that I apparently missed a commercial, like I said earlier in the first take, that said this was going to be the biggest blindside of the season. I did not see that, so I was joyfully surprised. Not joyful that Jeremy's gone, but I completely had no idea there'd be a major blindside. Yeah. And I was just, I stood up. I was so wild by the end of that episode.
Oh, really?
Really. And then when I saw the votes during the end credits, I was really wild.
Yeah.
And really kind of blown away. I thought it was a great episode. I love the editing. I love that at the end, after the immunity challenge, we went to about 16 or 1700 different scenes of people talking about idols and strategy and stuff, and I love that. I thought that was great.
Yeah.
I thought it was a wow episode. I loved it.
Yeah. I wrote, whoa, which was close to wow.
Yes. Very close.
Oh.
Had you seen the commercial? Did you know there's going to be a giant blindside?
Heck no. I was totally blindsided.
I was too.
I mean, I even wrote this later on in our notes. I thought the whole Jeremy thing was a fake, one of those red herring things.
Yeah.
I thought it was obvious they were going to split the votes and get rid of Reed.
Yeah, I thought it was something building for another episode. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So I have another initial thought. Stealing is now allowed on Survivor. He literally took something out of Keith's bag. Reed took something out of Keith's bag and put it in his pocket with the cameraman there watching him, and did not get in trouble for it.
Not at all.
So, nope, nothing is safe. Do you have any other initial thoughts? I got one more.
No, I mean, I was really later on in this podcast, I'll read the initial thoughts from some of our listeners. There's a lot of great ones.
No, I'm kidding.
That was our poll question, so I got to cover it. But yeah, later on I'll read some of those. A lot of good ones.
All right. My last initial thought was Val knows her husband well, because she said at the beginning of the season what his downfall would be, and she was right.
What was
he
that?
was just too trusting of people, wasn't aware of stuff that was going on around him.
Mm-hmm.
Believed the best in people whenever he should have been realizing they're playing the game, and he can't always trust that.
Yeah, that was one of the first things he said when in his Ponderosa video when he sat down, that he said, I wasn't too comfortable, but I was already looking at the end. He felt good enough that he could actually start looking at the end of the game.
Yep. All right, so night 21, it's Let's All Hug John time, unless you are a Spider-Man actor on Broadway.
That's it's Missy. To me, it's Missy bringing in the family, and John's just worried about how he's going to be seen now. Am I going to be the bad guy? I don't want to be the bad guy. I mean,
Right.
I don't want people to hate me. No, you're going to be fine. You're going to be fine. And he's talking to Missy. He's not talking to Jeremy or
Right.
Natalie. He's talking to
Right.
mom Missy. That's a
Yeah.
relationship that's going to be very important going down the road.
Yep. Absolutely. So I've got let's see, John looking. Did you notice John looking for reassurances? It's the old fishing for the compliment type of thing. How do I go
Hmm.
about talking to everyone? Does everyone hate me? In other words,
Right.
please tell me I did an awesome thing tonight.
Yeah, I was wondering if he was trying to validate voting out people because they were bad or because they did something wrong. But I wouldn't necessarily say that about Josh. That was just gameplay. But yeah, exactly. He came back to the camp and just wanted to feel good about what he did.
Right.
Wanted to be reassured that it wasn't just him. But he seemed like he was trying to take I don't know. He was taking the blame on himself, but at the same time, he didn't want to.
Yeah.
So it's just kind of odd. But I was like, oh my goodness, this is just pat John on the back. It's about John. In fact, a
Right.
lot of this episode was about John.
Yeah.
Um, and then Baylor comes in for the hug, and I'm like, oh, it's like a big brother hug. And sure enough, she says, "You're like the big brother I never had."
Right.
And that's just the type of talk that I think John falls for.
Yeah.
He trusts Missy, and Baylor, hey Bay, now he's calling her Bay like Missy does, and it's just a happy family.
Right. By the way, in the chat room, I am being told that stealing has been part of the game since season 7,
Hmm.
and so they're not going to hold anybody against. They're not going to hold it against anybody for stealing.
Yeah.
I mean, Rupert did it, right? Stole
Yeah.
shoes.
He stole before they even got to the island itself.
Yeah. So, still, I don't like it. So, anyway, all right. John explains that the guys treating Jacqueline the way they did is why he switched. Okay, that's fine. But
But he
I
still
like.
his gut instinct says he still thinks it was the wrong move. He said it right at the end of that segment. My gut told me it was the wrong move, and then Survivor tells you to follow your gut.
Yeah, I don't think he was talking about his switch.
No, what do you think he was talking about?
I thought he was talking about what they did. Maybe I'm wrong. I didn't understand that, I guess.
I had to listen to it a couple times. It was kind of, I'm like, what are you talking about? Because now you're saying what you just did was wrong.
Yeah, so I'm not sure that's what he meant. So, all right, now this is interesting talk. Keith is talking about playing the idol at the right time, and he's actually got a little strategy going on. All
Hmm.
right? He's thinking, how about I tell them to vote me off, and then I totally surprise them and play the idol.
Right.
That's pretty good, you
It is
know?
pretty good. It
And
is
then they
pretty good.
do it later on in the episode. He and Wes kind of contrive to do it together.
Yeah, I agree. It's interesting coming from Keith because we haven't heard anything like this before. But maybe he's starting to see enough tribals that he's starting to realize, you've got to start making moves. That's what Probst wants. He wants people that makes moves. You don't want
Right,
people that sit back and do nothing.
right. So interesting. Good job. So let's get to the reward challenge. It's time to get muddy. It's time to get physical. It's time to stand on a board.
Yeah, and shake it and wobble it and hope
Yeah,
somebody else falls off before you do. It looked
yeah,
good on paper. To
yeah,
me, that once it got started, my first thought was, why don't we do some log rolling or something? Let's go out there and do some sort
yeah.
of physical challenge. But then if you look in the background, there's Hurricane Sally in the back
Yeah,
because
really.
man, the weather came in like crazy, and you look at the
Yeah,
waves are really crashing in the background.
that's right. They're playing for a yacht cruise with food and beverages. It's up to Davey to remember exactly what they're playing for. But anyway, so yellow is Alec, Baylor, Natalie, Reed, and Zeus. I'm sorry, Jeremy. Man, that guy. Is there any fat on him at all?
There
I
isn't
don't think
now
so.
because he lost about 18 or 19 pounds, so now
Goodness
he's
gracious.
clean.
Green team is Wes, John, Jacqueline, Missy, and Keith.
Hmm.
And we get to hear John say over and over again how much he wants a meal.
He said it twice, and then Jacqueline said it a third time at the end.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, so reoccurring
yeah.
theme. Yes, I actually wrote that down too.
So I think we can all agree this reward challenge was not the most exciting challenge in the world. So let's just get down to it. It was tied. Baylor went against her mom, and Baylor beat her mom.
Did she?
Yeah.
Oh, I just kind of thought Missy just kind of fell. Or
Well, whatever.
just kind of, yeah.
Oh,
I didn't really get a real vibe that Missy put up the strongest fight in the world.
yeah. Well, we did get a few head slaps. Reed slapped Wes on the head a couple times.
Yep.
That was pretty cool. And apparently, based on a secret scene, Alec wasn't even watching his team. He just kept his eyes on Jacqueline's butt the whole time, and then
Yes.
had the audacity to say that in front of her boyfriend.
Well,
How
if
great
you're
her
gonna
butt
be,
looked.
yeah, just telling Jacqueline that I'm not afraid to say it, and I understand he's your boyfriend. I'm just letting you know.
Yeah. Just in case you didn't know, you may not have won very well, but boy, your butt won, or something like that. I'm like, dude, come on.
Wow.
Seriously. Did you notice Keith helped Missy out of the mud?
Yes, I did at the very end.
Do you think maybe, in spite of CBS showing them arguing all the time, that perhaps Keith and Missy have a little secret thing going? And no, I'm not trying to be.
I understand. Well, I think he confirms that at the end when he talks to Tribal Council that he talks to Missy. I think it's more of an age thing where he thinks he relates to her more or she relates to him. I also think it's Missy playing a very good social game. She's
Well,
I think she's putting out feelers to talk to everybody. So, but yeah, I do think they talk more than the edit is letting on.
right. Well, yeah, I was going to mention that also. She said, or he said something about it at Tribal Council too.
Hmm.
So interesting. Let's see where that goes. Let's see if there's anything there.
Yeah.
So Natalie asks if she can switch positions,
Hmm.
and Probst is like, if you want to give up a yacht and food, sure, go for it.
Yeah, because it's never worked in the past, but if you want to do it, add a little drama to it.
Yeah.
Sure.
I almost feel like she beat Jeremy to it because Jeremy was planning on going to Exile Island the whole time.
Yeah, he was like walking up behind her as she was doing it, ready to go next. Yeah,
Right.
it was definitely planned.
Yeah, I just wonder if maybe they were both planning on doing it because they were very close.
Especially once the teams got separated. I could
Right.
definitely see that. And wanting to keep, after Jacqueline just made it very clear how mean those guys were to her, somebody's going to make it's doesn't hurt to make a gesture. Doesn't have to be
Right.
this gesture. Doesn't hurt to make a gesture to show them that you care, you trust, like she explains later.
That's right. The plan is for Jeremy to get the immunity idol. You know, the one John has?
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
That's the plan.
Yeah, and if you watch when Probst makes it clear that not only did you give up reward, but now you're part of the group that could be going to exile. And then now they have to pick someone to go to exile. And when they show the other tribe, they showed Natalie, and behind Natalie is Jeremy, who is nodding and basically saying, yes, that's fine, I'm ready to go, send me.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's all one big plan, it sounds like. So
Yep. All right, back at camp, you've already talked about Natalie saying that she did this to secure John and Jacqueline for the rest of the game. Not. It didn't work. This is John and Jacqueline we're talking about. They switch tribes and alliances more often than, I don't know, the average man changes underwear. A lot.
every 3 days. So,
Whoa.
but no, that's how much they switch alliances is every 3 days. But,
Oh, okay.
the first thing they said when they got back to camp was, "Oh, it's so good for John to get food. Yeah, he really needs food." So this is a John eating episode. I mean, it's all about John getting food, taking care of John. John's everybody's brother, their son. It's all about John.
Yeah.
He needs food. But yeah, I like what. And then Keith chimed in. Well, John's with you for life now. With what you just did,
Yeah.
John and Jacqueline aren't going to flip now. So that was a big strategic move, according to West. Touche for them.
Oh, that was hilarious.
I'm not sure what he meant by that, but it shows
Touche
me.
for them.
I think Wes has a list. Before he got on, he had a list of phrases to say, add a hashtag, come up with a few different lines to get on the air because it'll definitely get you camera time.
Well, he definitely didn't know how. It was a classic misuse of the word touche.
Yes.
Yeah. So that was very funny. And this, of course, is where Keith and Wes are hatching a plan or progressing in a plan that might have worked had Reed not found the idle clues and the idle hints.
Right.
Or the idle instructions. In other words, let us know so we can play our idol.
I love it. It's believable from those two because they haven't shown this survivor savvy that some people have, and it's like, hey, we don't want to quit. We're not going to walk out, but we understand we're down. So here's the towel on my shoulder, and I'll
Yeah.
be ready to throw it when you tell me to. Just, it's like I like what Wes said. Wes gave a great, he didn't say all this, but I'm young and I don't want to be kicked off in a blind side. Just let me know. I want to go out and go out fighting, but just let me know. And I loved it. It was a really good plan.
I feel like they almost overdid it though. There was right at the point. Now, granted, we didn't see the whole thing, so I imagine they probably did overdo it.
Yeah.
But even towards the end, I was thinking, okay, y'all are overdoing it now. It's kind of like, son, I'm done talking about it. Yeah, Dad, I am too now. It's like it just seemed a little rehearsed.
It reminded me of last week when they were at Reward and they were talking about it to Jeremy. I don't
Yeah.
know if Julie had quit. If we'd have gone in trouble, I'd have been in trouble. No, Dad,
Yes.
I'd have been in trouble. No, I'd have been in trouble. No, Dad, I'd have been in trouble.
I don't know about. All right, let's move on over to Exile Island, where Jeremy's out looking for the clue.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, out looking for the idol with his very, very explicit clue. Helicopters flying around, cameramen up on the spike, and yet there's no clue.
None whatsoever.
I keep saying that. There's no idol. Hey, don't laugh. You agreed.
I did. I went right along. We keep
Yeah.
breaking up, so I agree with what you say. He said he basically confirmed what Natalie said. It was the least we could do for John and Jacqueline for joining us. You know, I volunteered to go to find an idol, and I'll bring it back to my alliance. Of course, it's to protect myself, but I'll show them what we have so that they'll know they can trust me. You know,
Right.
and I love the fact that Jeremy had to watch the boat ride behind the distance. I thought that was great. Just a reminder what he's missing.
Yes, which was a great transition to the reward, which was a great reward. If not even the food, just being out on that boat is very refreshing.
Yeah. Just being away.
So and apparently fresh breath means a lot of kissing for John and Jacqueline.
Or at least food breath.
I'm surprised they didn't go find a spot on the boat.
Maybe they did.
Chocolate breath.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Reed is annoyed. I have nothing to lose. It's time to stir up some chaos, Cass.
There you go. And he's right. I mean, what they did was so transparent. It's obvious. I mean, anybody that's not a rookie will know that.
Right. Right. Oh, sorry about that. All right, let's go back to Exile. There are crabs everywhere.
Very much.
I mean, there's plenty of jokes that will not be said right now, but there are crabs everywhere. The poor guy's lying on the ground, and there are at least 15 crabs crawling all around him.
The ground's moving. I thought it was just the whole ground, like an earthquake or something.
Yeah.
Everything on the ground, except for the fire, is moving.
Yeah. He looks spent, he feels spent, and he goes and looks for the idol again. And he just says to you, you know what? John obviously has the idol. There's no way I have not found this idol. And then he says, that would have been fine, but he should have told me so I didn't spend 2 days out here.
Yeah, we could have sent somebody out here to die, is what he said when he got back. I didn't have to come out here.
Yeah, we could have sent someone else. Anything else about Exile, David?
No.
All right. You're having a hard time hearing me, aren't you?
I think we're just delayed. I can hear you, but you're responding slow, so I think we're delayed.
Well, your video is just basically not working at all.
Oh, I can see that. It's frozen.
And that your GarageBand stopped recording?
Yes, indeed.
Oh, boy. We may have to return Keith's laptop and buy you a different one.
I'm sure it's not that.
I don't know. I mean, what else is it?
I don't know.
I don't know.
It's probably all these things I got plugged into it right now. So.
No, I don't think so. Back at camp, day 24, John, a little light bulb went off in his head. Boy, either that or the producer said, what do you think about this? I almost have a feeling that he didn't think of this on his own, but that somebody or some cameraman may have suggested to him that he may have made a mistake.
Yeah, it's kind of, to me, this is John on his own, living day by day, making quick decisions, what he thinks is right at the time, but not looking at how it will result tomorrow.
Right.
I think this is how John plays, and I think this is why Jacqueline's been good for him. But in this case, he's going to have to answer. He's got a plan to get there, but when it comes back, he doesn't have an answer for it. So he's right to be worried.
Yeah. All right. Anything else about that? Or you want to get to the immunity challenge?
Nah, let's see.
I mean, we're going to talk about that later because whenever Jeremy confronts him, but
yeah, I'm ready.
All in all, it was not very smart to say I don't have the idol and then to send Jeremy out there and not think that he's going to come back and know you have the idol.
Well, to me, that decision is what separated John from Jeremy. Yeah. That just pretty much put the wall between them.
Right. But what's crazy is Jeremy still ends up trusting the guy, which is why Val had him pegged.
I think that had a little bit to do with Jeremy being so worn down. I mean, I don't think he slept very much. He was tired, and I think he wanted a reason not to worry. And if John came to him, he's been good. He didn't turn on him last time, so I just want to give the guy the benefit of the doubt.
Right. By the way, Keith, we don't want to return your computer. We're just playing around.
Yes.
But if you want it back,
did he text you? Did he text you the address?
No. But seriously, he gave us the computer. So, if we do end up needing a faster computer, I would rather give it back to him and let him sell it than us do something with it. So, but anyway, but we'll see. We've only had one successful GarageBand recording session so far out of 3.
I think a lot of this is GarageBand recognizing all these devices, and I think that's what my problem is. So I'll have to play with that.
Okay. Well, last time it was my GarageBand stopped recording in the middle of it because a disk error.
Yeah.
So it turns out I had a fault on my hard drive, so I had to fix that. So it's probably not the computer at all. So, no. All right, immunity challenge. Probst on cue from the producers. Wow, you look beat up there, Jeremy. He doesn't always say that,
No.
Either that or Jeremy really did look defeated and beat up.
Yep.
So, I really like this challenge, David. It's different, as Probst was so good at reminding us, for the first time ever, a feet-only challenge. But I really did like this challenge. It was different.
It was good. I agree. I like that it was different. Definitely different. Yeah, it was good. It was okay.
Well, I like it because it really is an endurance and dexterity challenge. Because not only do you have to be able to maneuver a bunch of things with your feet and your toes, but to keep your legs up that long takes a lot of core strength, which is going to wear you out. And the longer you go, the harder it is to keep the legs up.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah, we had 2 challenges that were core-based. So, because you heard a lot of that mentioned in the other challenge as well. So.
Yeah, but this was like far more because they were only on that board for maybe 2 or 3 minutes at the very most. Here they were the whole time had to hold their legs up.
Yeah, and I do like the fact that it takes patience because if you get the slightest bit frustrated, you're taking down 2 or 3 blocks when you do.
Oh yeah.
So yeah,
absolutely. Now, granted, if I was going to accidentally knock over some of mine, they would knock over far enough to knock over someone else.
Exactly.
Oh, look, I had a spasm in my foot. Oh, I'm so sorry.
Here, let me pick this up and throw it in my basket. Oh, I'm sorry, Baylor. Did I take out your second row?
Oh, was that the flag you were just trying to put in? I'm so sorry.
Oh, that might leave a bump on your head. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Anyway, I didn't expect Keith to do so well. Hello? Where did that come from?
Well, I mean, he sounds like a hick, but he's also a fire chief. And you and I, we both know fire chiefs. I mean, they got to be physical. They got to be able to do certain challenges and certain things. I don't know. Maybe
their feet?
Sure.
What? Name one thing besides sliding down a pole that they use their feet for.
Balance, standing on ladders, climbing things. I don't know.
Okay.
Right. They have to be a little physically gifted.
All right. Well, I seriously thought Reed was going to kick butt on this challenge.
Not after he dropped it the 3rd time. I thought, you know what? Somebody's just going to walk up and beat him. Yeah. He's just not getting it.
Yeah. All right. So, anyway, Baylor wins it. Does very well. And of course, Jeremy is happy about how it turned out.
Sure,
Why wouldn't he be?
he could rest.
Yep. So, all right. All right, so that's the immunity challenge. Baylor wins immunity. She didn't even need it, but she won it, so good for her. I can only imagine if I was on Survivor that, David, your screen is frozen on you like about to sneeze. It's the most hilarious thing I think I've ever seen. It's absolutely hilarious.
Not
Anyway,
anymore.
anyway, anyway.
This is why we're not recording next week, because we're having so much trouble.
No. Hey, wait till you hear our latest iTunes reviews. Our latest iTunes review. They're great, but their computers suck. No, they didn't say that. Anyway, I can only imagine that if I was on Survivor, one of the greatest feelings would be to win an individual immunity challenge.
Absolutely.
You know? So, it's one thing to play, it's another thing to actually win a challenge. So, good job, Baylor. Back at camp, it's time for Reed to play the Reed game.
Yeah, he's right that this was a challenge that somebody like him should have won. I mean, it's about balance and core, but I like he said he needs to point the target at somebody else. Get that alliance looking at somebody else.
Yep. Well, so let's talk about Reed. Reed really did play this well. Okay? Apparently it's okay to take stuff. And even if he hadn't taken it, he still could have played this well. But taking it made it. He just secured it. But he went to Jacqueline and Missy, and then eventually Baylor, and in doing so got John, and got himself a group of 5, and did what he wanted. You know?
Yeah, I like that. It may have just worked out that Missy and Jacqueline were standing alone, and he started talking to him. But at the same time, Missy is definitely the person that's going to work her magic on other people. Right. And Jacqueline is the person that has John's ear. And Jacqueline's also the person that's been disrespected and not spoken to.
Right.
So why not go to Jacqueline and show respect and say, look, I just want to help you guys with something. I know I'm on the outs, but, here's Keith has an idol. Got this from his bag. I thought it was Julie's. The bag that everybody's been through 100 times. Right. But I thought it was Julie's, but it turns out it was Keith's. I didn't even see that fireman logo on the outside. So it was Keith's, but oh my gosh, it was so fortuitous. I just found the idol rule. So he's got an idol.
Look what I found.
Yeah. It was at the bottom underneath all of his clothes, but I found it.
Yeah. And then Baylor's going, really? Of all people? Keith? When did he find an idol?
Such an honest confessional. Of all people. I mean, Keith, really?
Yeah.
So, but I like Reed. What he told him, he goes, because if you guys are going to do something about this, you got the numbers now, and you have me. I'll vote with you guys. I'm voting with you guys. Just let me know what to do, and I'm down. So I thought that was really smart. Yeah.
Well, Reed played this wonderfully, just as I said. He really did. And because of this, because of his conniving and his way of playing this game in this episode, he has totally shot Wes and Keith's plan out from underneath them, and he's totally changed the whole game back on itself. Now, some say that there's been some production manipulation.
Mm-hmm.
I've just been seeing that around the web. I don't know if I believe that or not, but I bet there's some people who feel like production probably suggested that he go look through people's bags and mix things up.
Mm-hmm.
Who knows? Did they? Did they not? I don't know. Leave it. Tell us what you think in your feedback.
Yeah. I also read that some people are mad because what Reed did messed up Keith and Wes's game, like you said.
Yeah.
Flat. He did something that seems underhanded, even though it's not illegal. But it's almost like he pulled a Julie, because what Julie did knocked out Josh and Reed's game.
Yes.
It completely turned the tide on them.
Right.
So, what's worse? Somebody taking the steps to try and save themselves, because of course Reed doesn't care about Keith and Wes. He cares about Reed.
Keith and Wes. There's a redneck called Keith and Wes. All right, go ahead.
So anyway, but I applaud Reed, like you said, for doing this. I thought it was great. Do whatever. What are you willing to do is my quota for Survivor. What are you willing to do?
Yep. I mean, I would much rather him do this than just sit back and let it happen.
Yeah. And then we get the result of Keith telling me, oh,
it definitely made this episode more exciting than it would have been.
oh, absolutely, absolutely.
You were gonna say?
No, I was going to say then we get the scene of Keith realizing what's happened and telling Wes that his bag's obviously been gone through. My rules are gone, and that's kind of like our plans out the window. Yep. I'm really in a bind now.
Yep. And then we get Jeremy not really playing very well. I mean, okay, yeah, at least he went and tried to catch John in a lie. Kind of do catch him in a lie. He looks as guilty as a kid in his hand in a cookie jar, and you still believe him. So,
well, Jeremy's a firefighter. Maybe Val should have been the one trying to catch him in a lie. She's being the police officer. But you're right. He said I'm going to catch him in a lie, and John had that look of and then he said, I guess I got to give I mean, you want to trust somebody. You do, but Jeremy's already got his one. His one is Natalie. That's the person he trusts, and I completely believe that those two were telling each other everything.
Right.
So whatever Jeremy knows, Natalie knows, and vice versa. And he just went on trust. But the fact that he did that, I wonder if he hadn't had that conversation, had Jeremy had been voted out this soon. If he hadn't gone and confronted him, because he basically told him, I think you have the idol. Because I wouldn't have had to gone if you had the idol.
Right.
So if you have the idol, this is your chance to tell me. And John's already in too deep. He can't go back now. He's already gone too far. So I just wonder, because I think what it comes down to is that Jeremy has been on John's radar since Josh made the case that Jeremy is somebody that could win.
Right.
So I always felt like since last week, or even before last week, before when Julie quit, that if Josh does go, he's going to take Jeremy with him, because he planted the seed in somebody that's got a little bit of power, a little bit of swing, and John's not going to forget that Jeremy is somebody that can't be beaten.
Right.
So Jeremy's always going to have a target in front of John. So that was always going to be a target for John. At some point, Jeremy's going to have to go.
Yeah. By the way, I think Mike Razor on our chat room may have completely understood you. He wrote, "Let's not compare playing dirty in order to save yourself to someone quitting to go on vacation with her boyfriend. That's not what you were saying. You were saying that the result was the same.
Yes.
The result the result of Julie quitting messed up Josh's game. The result of what Reed did messed up Wes and Keith's game."
Yeah. I'm not comparing at all somebody going into a bag versus somebody quitting.
No.
Yeah.
No. What Reed did apparently was within the rules, and he played well. Julie just quit.
Yeah, Reed did what Reed did for Reed. It did mess up Keith and Wes. It may have messed up Keith and Wes. We haven't seen that yet. But Julie did what Julie wanted to do for Julie that had nothing to do with staying in the game, and it did affect Josh, flat out.
Right. Very much so.
But thanks for bringing that up, for asking that.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I don't want to think that you were an idiot, because you're not.
Thank you for saying that.
Well, I mean, seriously, that they thought you were comparing the moves, and you weren't. So I just wanted to make sure that you were well represented on the podcast. All right. Mm-hmm. I'm looking out for you, bud. Even though all I see is your character.
I appreciate it.
I'm looking out for you. So now I was a little surprised that John went to Missy. Although it just shows me that John is either that or Missy and Jeremy are very good at hiding how close they have been. But would he not have known how close Jeremy and Missy have been?
Well, in the beginning, John was with Drew, and Missy said later on even that her and Jeremy were first. Her and Jeremy and her and Natalie were her first alliances.
Yeah, I know.
But I don't know. I think this goes back to the beginning where we talked about how close Missy was to John and how John saw Missy. It's almost like he doesn't see her as a threat. At this point in the game, it's almost like the comfort thing. He sees Missy and, for that reason, Baylor as like people he can trust, wants to trust, wants to stay with. And I think Jacqueline confirms that. Why not take these two? You know, not everybody gets along with them. So I think it's a matter of trust. And if you're going to share with somebody, you go with the person you feel most comfortable with.
Okay. Well, there you go. I thought this was a red herring. I did not think they were going to vote off Jeremy at all.
I didn't either.
And, in fact, this is to be honest with you, great job Survivor. Great job CBS, because this is what they normally do. They normally have a thing going, and then they'll throw something there at the end to try to throw you off, but
Yeah.
that's not what's really going to happen. And that's what they did, only this time that's what really happened.
Yeah, exactly.
It doesn't happen that way very often, but it did tonight or last night.
Yeah, I wrote down that she said about Jeremy and Natalie being her first alliance, but she wanted to split the votes. And when she said it at that point, my first thought was you can't split the votes because 3 for Reed, 3 for Keith. Those guys have 4, so that's going to outdo each of your 3. But I'd forgotten that Reed said, "Hey, I'm voting with you guys." So I think she'd been talking to Reed since that time where he revealed about Keith's idol and confirmed that Reed will do what I tell him, no matter what those 3 do.
Right.
If it's a tie all the way around, we still go after one of them. I still don't think it was enough to split the votes. But yeah, I'd forgotten about Reed. Yeah.
Well, this reminds me of what Will Dennison, the Giant Ninja, posted on our Facebook group. That started there's been a lot of conversation in the last day and a half on our Facebook group about this episode. But that please show us a lot more of the strategy talk, because obviously so much stuff went down, and we wanted to see more of it. There's so much stuff we don't know about.
Yeah, I agree. But did you really want to hear Missy tell Reed, vote Jeremy? Now, if she had done it and then turned to John and said, all right, Reed's going to vote Jeremy, so we've blocked them from taking one of us out. I'm going to tell Reed to vote Jeremy. That way those 4 can't get together and take one of us out. Now, what do you want to do? That would have been okay.
Right.
But I think by the time she told Reed to vote Jeremy, it was done. Jeremy was going to go.
Right. All right, let's get to Tribal Council, where Probst is obviously going to bring up the whole reward swap. And they talk about everything we've already talked about.
I wrote down a lot from this Tribal Council. I just thought there was a lot of great lines.
Go for it. I'll just feed off of you then.
Okay, Jeremy said that trust is huge, especially within an alliance. Him and Natalie were really, really hitting points to wanting to reinforce this alliance, and he hopes it lasts until the end of the game. And like Probst said, like you just said, how do you build on that? You do the little things with the given reward and stuff like that. And then Probst asked Jacqueline, does the reward complicate things? And she says, no, it reassures us that they're as much with us as we are with them. Good job, Jacqueline.
Yeah.
Nice acting.
Nice.
And then she says, I think we made the right decision because no one on the other side would have done that for us.
Right.
No one, they would have given us food, and you're right.
Yeah.
And then Reed, the arbitrator from the other side. I love that he's doing this. We're finally getting Reed. We haven't had Reed for like 4 or 5 weeks, and we're finally getting a lot of Reed, especially at Tribal. And he's like, It's not exactly a selfless gift. It does cement trust. You scratch my back, I scratch yours, but it's self-serving in being selfless.
Uh-huh. And what does Probst say to that?
He said, but it's one of the greatest moves you can make. It's a win-win.
That's right.
So
kudos to them for their move.
And then Probst brings up about idols, and Missy says there's speculation that people have idols, feeling some may have one. People are feeling kind of comfortable in the game, and that usually means, well, that's not what she says. Jacqueline says that. But things can switch on a dime, is what Missy said. And then John said, I feel extremely confident that somebody here has an idol.
Yeah, that was almost too obvious there, John.
Yes, it was, exactly. Now, I liked what...
Based on the indention of my right butt cheek, I am pretty confident there's an idol somewhere.
All we didn't get was the head wave, pointing which direction he thought the idol was. Now, I liked what Natalie said. To me, this is Natalie and Jeremy planning out what they're going to say at Tribal.
Yeah.
Yes.
Too bad they got blindsided.
Yeah, Natalie says, yes, it is scary that one of those 4 could have an idol, but it's also scary if one of your own alliance has an idol and doesn't share it with you, as I look at John. Because Jeremy has convinced me that he does have an idol. So, and then here's Jacqueline. I think for the second time she says, can I say something without being prodded with the question?
Can I share my deductive reasoning? That's actually not based on deductive reasoning, but I'm going to act like it is.
Yeah, because you're not asking me any questions, Probst, so I'm going to bring up something.
Yeah.
That Alec and Reed have been coming to her and talking to her, but Wes and Keith haven't. They've only been talking to John, not me, and that shows confidence. So she's also on the bandwagon of Keith or Wes have an idol. We know Keith has an idol, so she's kind of adding on to that. I know, but why does she need to tell us? We know.
Well,
Why does she need to say anything?
she wants to look smart.
Exactly. So.
You know, it's like I already know the answer. Now I'm going to tell you all of these reasons why I came up with that. The real that's because Reed told her. But now if I'm going to really think through this, then this is what I think. See, and then she goes on, and Wes or Keith has the idol, and
Yes.
Probst is sitting there going, "Somebody told you that, but I'm not allowed to say I know."
But I like exactly. I like Wes's response in that first it looks like Wes woke up because he hadn't really said anything in the edit so far the whole time, or Alec or Keith, and Wes says, "Well, you haven't come to me either."
Yeah.
And then we get John and Jacqueline. John really going back and forth about, John says they're not catering to us. If they want our vote, they need to come wait on us hand and foot. Is kind of what it sounded like he was trying to say. But they need to come to us. They need to talk to us. But both of us,
Right.
But and Wes is like, well, you guys swore we had your vote, and Wes had a good point. You swore your vote to us. Why do we need to keep coming to you and talking about votes?
That's true.
That's only going to confuse people because we know
Right.
how people get confused. Like the first time the Blue Tribe voted, Hunapu voted, they voted for 6 different people, and there's only so many people there were to vote for. So we don't need any more confusion.
And,
So
and then Keith scares Baylor to death. I've been talking to your mom an awful lot lately.
yeah, she keeps calling me number 4 for some reason, but I don't know what she's talking about.
I was thinking Baylor's like, no, Mom. 3 husbands was enough. Don't need Keith.
That's right. She could have slipped up and said just because he found an idol doesn't make him husband material.
Yes.
So.
Yes.
But it's funny because Keith even comes back and says, well, we did try to talk. We tried to talk to them about joining us, but once John decided to go with them, I'm like, Keith, she just said you don't include her, and you're just pointing out that you're talking about John. John decides, John does this. So not giving Jacqueline any credit. And then Keith's like, well, like in the real world, I don't go around just talking to girls. Like I said, he talks to Missy because I think they're closer in age.
Sure.
And I think Missy talks to him. I think that relationship's there.
Right.
I mean, I understood what Keith was saying, but Keith, you're playing Survivor.
Yeah.
Every person is important. The bottom person is important as the top person's important. Talk to everybody.
But you got to find something to talk about too. I mean,
like being lazy.
What's Keith going to go up to Baylor and talk to her about?
Get more wood. Go do something.
Yeah. All right. Are you ready for the D&D shocker? The vote? Or is there more you want to say?
No, everything else is about Reed being happy that they're fighting, but it's, it was,
Yeah.
Nah.
All right, so Reed, John, Miller vote off Jeremy.
Yes.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Natalie, Jeremy, Keith, Alec, and Wes are all blindsided. Completely blindsided. As was 95% of the nation.
They didn't see the commercial, but yeah, for the most part.
What commercial gave it away? I don't remember a commercial giving it away.
Well, Mike K said this. There was a commercial that said the biggest blindside of the year, which I didn't see. So I'm kind of glad I didn't see it.
Did it stay up? Was it up all the time?
Oh, I don't know.
I thought I saw all the commercials. Well, okay, if they had said that, then yeah, we would have all thought.
Well, this was one of those weeks that I was out of town and not at home, so I didn't get to watch a whole lot of TV.
Yeah. Well, thanks to Reed's good gameplay tonight, or during these couple of days, Reed has put himself in a powerful position. He now has John, Jacqueline, Missy, and Baylor voting with him, and he still has Alec, Wes, and Keith that, are grabbing on him saying, please take us with you in your newfound amazingness.
Yes.
So,
exactly. Now I have
he's in a good position.
Yeah. Speaking of Reed, I have a challenge. If you need something to write about for feedback, if you don't have anything off the top of your head that you want to write about, Daniel actually from Brazil actually beat me to it, but I want to know, where do Reed and Natalie go from here? To me, those two are very interesting. The thing about doing podcasting is I've tried to get away from pulling for one person because I want to cover the whole field. I don't want to be biased in one way or another. But this season, I'm actually feel pretty confident covering the whole field. But I've grown to watch and want to see more of Reed and Natalie. I like the single games that they're playing, and I want to know, if you have an opinion, where do Reed and Natalie go from here? And I'll talk about that in our feedback on Sunday night.
Okay. Okay. Well, I think Reed can control if he plays it smart, he can continue to control. He's put himself in a good position, as I said before. Natalie's in a really bad position right now.
Okay, well then I'll say it now. Then I'll say a short part of it now. I think Reed has now become like a swing vote because he just voted with the people that were going to send him home.
Right.
But he could just as well as turn around. One, if Keith says something, he can apologize, but otherwise he could go back. Natalie needs to just stand up, go to Reed, and say, hey, do you want to make a big move and knock out a bunch of favorites? Because those 4 over there are sitting awfully confident.
Right.
And I think John has an idol. Natalie just walks over to the guys and Reed after taking him and said, look, here's the new 5. I don't want to be the 5th of that group. I'll be the 5th of this group. And go from there. And I think she could use that group to knock off the 4 she just left because they obviously blindsided her too.
Right.
So I really want to see what Natalie and Reed are going to do. I think those two are going to be very interesting the next few weeks.
All right. So that's all we got. That was a great episode.
Let me just read a couple of these that were funny. Phyllis said, "Didn't see that coming." Yeah, these are the poll question. Yes, the poll question. I asked everybody what their initial reaction was. In one sentence, people, one sentence means one sentence. But if you spoke more than once, that's fine.
Yeah, and 3 minutes means 3 minutes.
Yes, Kristen said, "Told y'all he never had a winner's edit," so that's good. Mike K said he had a hunch. He put 15 points on Jeremy, but now he's got to pick a new winner. Let's see. Mimi said, "I had totally had no idea, and now the power couple better get sent home." Something tells me she's not a fan of Team Michigan. David said, "I'm shocked. Now someone who sucks will win." So I don't think he's too happy with those that are left. Will said, "Giant Ninja has a sad." I guess Jeremy was his pick too. Let's see. Jackie said, "I wish Missy had gone with the alternative plan of splitting the votes between the spitter and the dancer." And that might have worked if she had Reed in her pocket. That's true. Edward predicts that Keith is going to Fabio his way to the end. Steve said the 2 most interesting people on the first 2 on the jury. Let's see. Scott said hashtag I got blindsided. Let's see. There's a bunch of others. If you want to read the rest, you can go on our Facebook page. Because a lot of the rest are replies to what some of the other folks said.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Yeah, that thread is a good read.
Yeah.
It's fun to go and read it. Hearing little bits and pieces of it almost is kind of out of context, and it's kind of hard to.
Yeah, I don't want to read too much more because it feeds off each other. So yeah, go to our Facebook page. Join our Facebook group if you're not on it. But go there and read. And there's a couple great threads from this episode. We get great threads from every episode.
Right.
And you really, like Dwayne said, you need to read the whole thread. You can't just necessarily join in the 4th chapter. You can go back to chapter 1 and start from there.
Yeah. All right. So I asked people on chat room if they had any final questions before we wrap this show up. And Scott Perino, he sounds like he's a professional bottled water company. I mean, that guy can make some money on his name. Wants to know what my final 3 is. Scott, you asked the wrong guy. That's a David question. But I don't really have a final 3. I have no idea. This game could go anywhere because who knows what John and Jacqueline are going to do.
Right.
You know?
Right.
So I'm sorry, I do not have a final 3.
I'll have one Sunday night.
Sunday night you'll have one.
Because I'm liking it so much right now that I'm going episode by episode. I haven't even thought final 3 yet. Because I think this vote that just happened, which I think was horrible from John and Jacqueline. Right. I think this was the wrong time to make this vote because they just lost Natalie. She is going to go on a tear. So I think this game is going to flip this week. I really look forward to next week. I feel like we're starting the 3rd act next week. I know we got a lot of people left, but to me, this vote just flipped the whole game on its head, and it's thrown everybody in chaos, which is what we like. We love chaos.
Okay, I am going to give a final 3.
I said we wait till Sunday, and now you're going to do it.
You can wait till Sunday, but he asked me, so I'm going to give my final 3.
Okay.
Because I will not have one on Sunday.
Okay.
Absolutely, Keith is in the final 3. Mm-hmm. Absolutely, Missy is in the final 3. And absolutely, Baylor.
Now, see, I was going to say Keith, Missy, and Natalie. I think Natalie's going to do something to stay in the game. That's funny.
You know what Scott wrote?
What?
He goes, first of all, I can send you some water. Yeah, P.O. Box 1481, Athens, Alabama, 35611. Well, I know Dave will give me a final three. That's
That's
why I
right.
wanted to hear Dwayne's. Oh, yes, we definitely have the rep. You're the one that actually thinks about stuff. I'm just here for comic relief. And to
You're
keep
here for the
show going.
voiceover.
Yes. By the way, I got another job today.
You rock.
I know, it's pretty awesome.
Can't
Of
wait for
course.
my Christmas gift this year.
Wait, what? What? I don't. Hey, David, for your Christmas present, I will record your voicemail message for you.
Oh.
Hi, my name is David. Thank you for calling the Jones house. Anyway. All right, we don't have any more questions. Let's see. Anybody else on the chat room? I tell you what, we'll give you a little bit more time. We're going to tell you about the feedback show. We already told you about that, so we're not going to do that. Deadline is Sunday. We did get an iTunes review. I'm going to read it. And tell you something. This person gave us 5 stars, which is great. Thank you very much. Their name is Survivor Will from USA, and I don't think it's Will the Giant Ninja either. It's Survivor Will. But what they said is a concern for me, David. I'm not happy about this. Aside from occasional technical difficulties, that is so frustrating. I hate that we have technical difficulties, almost to the point that I'm willing almost to stop doing video podcasts so we can just do audios and make them sound really good. You know, I'm almost to that point.
You will not get an argument from me.
I know I won't, but I like having a presence on YouTube. We get a couple hundred views. Other podcasters are like, a couple hundred views. I carry that change in my pocket, man. Anyway, aside from occasional technical difficulties and plenty of awful jokes, thank you.
Now that I'm proud of. I'm proud of that because we have our humor and we make each other laugh. And I think sometimes the joke is that you guys laugh at us, so that's fine. I'm okay with that.
I thought that was a direct reference to my stupid knock-knock jokes and my Halloween jokes.
I was trying to cover for you and make you feel good. See,
there is no need to cover. Anyway, aside from those 2 horrible things, this is a great podcast.
Thanks for the honesty.
Yeah, David and Dwayne have a great chemistry and really know how to analyze ins and outs of Survivor. I look forward to listening each week to help fill the time and void in my heart between Survivor episodes. We fill a void in his heart.
Oh.
Yeah. Always refreshing to see or hear fans as passionate about this game as I am. Very welcome, and thank you for the 5-star review in iTunes. You can follow us on Twitter at Survivor_Talk. You definitely want to join our Facebook group. We are nearing 500 in our Facebook group, and that's Facebook.com.
Yeah, I'm sorry. It's
/Survivor Talk. What?
Yes, our Facebook group is clean. It is friendly. There are some personal attacks in jest. We try to keep it that way, but there's no language. There's no anything bad like that. It's very family friendly. So just like our podcast.
Yeah, I had to take a comment off the other day.
Uh-oh.
Did you even see it?
Probably
Did you
not.
see it?
I'm not sure.
Okay.
I don't think so.
It was about Jacqueline, and
did you write it and took
friendly,
it right back off?
No, David. It was about her, and I took it off and then messaged the person, said I'm sorry I had to take off your post. This is family friendly. So yeah, I think that's the only post I've taken off in 3 years. Except for I probably I try not to, but every once in a while you gotta do that. So it's safe for work. SFW.
Yes. Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. So, all right. Let's see. We have a little bit of haha. I heard rumors of an announcement of next season already. Does anyone know about it? I don't know about that. Well, I mean, I know some stuff about next season, but not that I'm allowed to say.
Yeah.
I love being able to say that, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know some stuff about next season, but I'm not allowed to say it.
What we know is that there's gonna be another season.
No. We don't know any spoilers.
No.
But we have heard a few things. Dave, we know it's the knock knock jokes. Yeah, Dave, you don't have to try to cover for me. They know it's the knock knock jokes. And then Jacqueline supporting me. Knock knock jokes are great. Thank you, Jacqueline. Somebody loves me.
Yeah, that's good. There's one. It's the voice. They just want to hear your voice.
Oh man. All right. It's time to go.
Yes.
Music for tonight's show is Summit by Skrillex, and it's the end of the game as you know it. Actually, I may just put the rest of Summit back on there. No, I'll put it's the end of the game as you know it. So, thanks again for listening, everybody. Do you have any final words, David, before we sign off?
No. I'm good.
All right, so am I. So that's all I've got. How about you, Dave?
I'm good.
I know. That's kind of weird. I shouldn't just read the.
I know.
See you, everybody.
See ya.